starts his gatherings into the zone. Score! Echo wins it, and the Sun Devils make it 18.
Hello, welcome into Hell Frozen Over. Austin Controlis with Nick Marek. Once again, filling in for Trey Lanthier, and I gotta tell you, it's definitely a cold one in here today.
Yeah, Trey missed a good one.
Yeah, I did. It's you can see your own breath today, so that means it's getting colder in the Tempe area, and if I'm shaking, that's why. But let's get into some hockey now. ASU took on Eastern Michigan, and then Colorado State this weekend. Eastern Michigan in the top 25. They were. They might not be after this weekend, but they were number 23 when they came into Tempe. ASU got the 9-2 win. Coach Powers, for the first time in our post-game interview, said that his team actually played a full 60 minutes of hockey. You turn around the next day, you have Colorado State in here, a D2 program, and they come out a little sluggish. Coach Powers said it just was a sloppy game all around, but they do get the victory, 4-1 win. What were the differences for you between those two games?
Well, Austin, was kind of complete flip-flopping you just mentioned. The ASU came out with a different firepower, different mentality. They got their legs going quick, and you heard it, even though Andrew Duff, the goaltender for Eastern Michigan, did not give up a goal, and I believe he faced around 22 shots in that first period, so it's not because of a lack of offense from the Sun Devils. They were absolutely bombarding the netminder from Eastern Michigan, the Eagles, and then all of a sudden, second period, third period rolls around, and 9 goals on the scoreboard was the stat sheet for the Sun Devils in that one. A different story. I don't know what it was. Maybe playing a Division II opponent, not as inspired to win. But either way, the Sun Devils did buckle down. They proved that they could compete even when they're faced with close games. So it was nice to see they kind of had that little bit of breakaway mentality. And then even at the end there, the biggest point for me from the Sun Devils was when the Colorado State Rams called a timeout, and they were able to capitalize on a shorthanded goal from Kale Dolinsky, set up by Colin Heckel as well. That was fantastic play for them, and really will give them momentum moving forward.
Yeah, Colorado State going to join ASU next year in the Western Collegiate Hockey League. That was just announced last week, and hey, they're going to be good competition as a D1 team. Now moving forward, this weekend in the ACHA, number 1 Ohio actually took their first loss to number 12 Liberty. They split with Liberty over the weekend, won on Friday, lost on Saturday. Nick, they lost to number 12 team. ASU convincingly beat a number 23 team, but then had an iffy game with a D2 opponent. Does ASU deserve to move to that number 1 spot? Do you think they will, with Liberty losing to a pretty good opponent?
I think it'll be really close to the rankings this week. I know the Sun Devils had 10 first-place votes coming in compared to Ohio's 35, I believe it was, so quite a big spread there. So just on one loss to make up that gap is going to be very impressive if the Sun Devils can pull that off. And their strength of schedule is the only thing that scares me in the get-go. They did have all those games against the Division II opponents. I realize you mentioned Colorado State next year is joining D1, but the current polls, they're going to recognize that Texas A&M, San Diego State, and Colorado State were all Division II opponents. So that's for quote-unquote gimme wins for the Sun Devils. They're just trying to make sure they find that chemistry early. So I think they're going to be very close. If they can pick up the sweep against rival Arizona this weekend on the road to go 13-0, that would have the chance of them jumping Ohio.
Well, you mentioned Arizona. The true test comes this weekend for the Sun Devils. They head down to Tucson to take on U of A. They're looking for 28 straight, but we're going to talk about that with the experts, Coach Powers and Stephen Collins. When we come back, we're going to have Coach Powers coming up first. You're watching Hell Frozen Over, brought to you by the WCSN.
They made the rebound. Score! Captain makes it 2-0 with 3 seconds in the cage. Score! Just like that, makes it 3-2. Block 3 and score! At the blast, the rebound and Brooklyn score!
Welcome back to Hell Frozen Over. Austin Controlis, Nick Marek. Joining us now, head coach Greg Powers. And coach, this weekend was kind of a positive and a negative in 2 games. I wouldn't really say a negative, but up and down definitely. Can you talk about the 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, Eastern Michigan was, we knew they were a good team coming in, and they proved it going down to U of A and getting a split. Ranked 20, in the country. So we were ready for them, and the guys were up for that game, and it showed with the end result. And we were really happy and feeling good going into Thursday. And You know, at the end of the day, you know, Colorado State's a good hockey team, but we just didn't play well. And, you know, people are going to have to come to terms with, you know, we're not going to beat every team we play by 10, 12 goals. It's just not going to happen. You know, the penalties in that game were absolutely atrocious. We were very undisciplined. Colorado State out-hit us, they outworked us, and they were more disciplined than us, and that's why they were able to keep it somewhat close and keep it to 4-1. But with all that said, we're 11-0, and we're just going to move on and take what we need to from that game and learn and move forward.
Well, Coach, you did say that the offensive power obviously is there. I believe 4 games this season have already scored double digits for you guys. So what's been the difference between last year's team and this year's team of you guys being able to put so many goals on the board? I remember obviously last year was a little bit of a struggle, more of a defensive grudge match. This year it seems like a completely different team.
We're just very talented. We have so much depth up front, and you know, it's just going to keep getting that way. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, you know, who do you focus on if you're an opposing team when you play us? I mean, you look at our stat sheet, and we're so balanced. You know, we have, you know, 7, 8 guys with big numbers. You know, over a point per game, and you know, teams that try to focus in on Heckel's line, they're going to have their hands full with Norris's line, and vice versa. And then now Kahn and Sterna and Jancy look really good too. So we're happy about our depth, and we just want to keep everybody healthy and continue to enjoy it.
Now, Coach, you talk about your depth. I mean, you've talked about Stephen Collins all year, about this guy who's extremely talented, and we really saw it this past week in 7 points, 5 on Thursday, 2 on Friday. I mean, a hat trick. Can you talk about his play this weekend?
He's a tremendous player. You know, we knew how good he was when he was coming in. I mean, he was originally committed to University of Connecticut, which is an NCAA Division I school, and some things happened where his commitment opened back up, and we were able to pounce on him, and what a huge gift, because he's a once-in-a-lifetime, you know, talent at this level, and he's starting to show that. So we're happy he's here. He's a great kid. The guys all are really jiving with him. He's good in the room, and he's starting to translate all of his skill and talent over on the ice, and it was only a matter of time before that happened.
The other side of the rink, can we talk a little bit about the defense and how, especially like kind of the rise of Charwa this past weekend in terms of the stat sheet, but also Richie and Blomgren and Hughes played 3 significant roles on the third line, played almost as many minutes as Charwa and Young did on the top. So can you kind of comment on how the defensive unit has been clicking?
Again, just the whole theme of depth. You know, 1 through 9, really, we have really good defensemen, and those 6, 7, or 5, 6, 7, and you know, Hughes and Blom and Rich have done just a great job. And really right now, I would say Kyle Hughes has turned on his game in practice, and just overall from when he first got back, he was struggling a little bit through tryouts and training camp. And right now, he's solidified himself in the lineup. He's playing calm and relaxed. He's not making mistakes. He's being physical, playing really good hockey. You know, and when you have a kid like Kyle Hughes as your 5 or 6, then you're in good shape.
Coach, let's transition now to this weekend. You're going down to Tucson for the first time this season. You have some newcomers on the team. They know the rivalry there already because U of A was here, but Tucson, a whole different animal. Can you touch about how you've prepped the guys for this coming weekend?
They know what the rivalry is all about. You know, these guys, they know. I mean, they know before they even ever put on our jersey what the ASU U of A rivalry means to our program. It means the U of A, it means the communities. So they know before they ever get here that those games are very important. They get a good taste of it up here in Tempe. Obviously, it's even more escalated down in Tucson with the crowd and the environment. But the good news is most of our new guys, almost all of our new guys, have played in very intense, you know, environments in junior hockey. You know, I mean, they've played in front of 5,000 to 6,000 people. Almost all of them have. So they'll be fine. They'll adjust to it. And the greatest thing is we have an unbelievable core of vets that will guide them through the first, you know, 5, 6 minutes, and we'll be fine.
At least one of the final questions for you is, obviously you guys had the comfort of staying at home. You're 9-0 at home ice right here in Oceanside to start the season. So how is this road trip going to prepare you guys when you have to go to Oklahoma, you have to go up to Canada, you have to go to Penn State within a matter of the next month or so?
Well, you know, the U of A road trip prepares us so well. Like, you know, I mean, in so many regards. Obviously, we're not on home ice. We're in a more hostile environment than we'll see all year, and that includes Penn State and up in Canada. So, you know, our guys handle the road very well. You look at our road record over the last 2 years, and it's very good. It's one of the best in the ACHA. So we embraced playing on the road. Iowa State was a packed, very intense environment, and we did just fine there. And U of A is going to be even more escalated. So it's going to really help us, I think, going into Oklahoma.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Stephen Collins joining us here on Hell Frozen Over. You're watching Hell Frozen Over, brought to you by the WCSA.
I think when you come watch our team practice, what you're going to see is we go extremely fast.
Practices, our tempo, everything is up 100%.
In spring ball, we were going game speed, and he still thinks it's slow.
You have to be mentally tough. Every snap, you better give it 100%.
I just like the fight, the grind, every single play.
Do not put two hands on offensive linemen.
What I saw when I showed up here, I saw a bunch of young kids that was hungry to win. The sky's the limit for Sun Devil football.
Welcome back to Hell Frozen Over. Austin Controlis, Nick Marek. We're now joined by Stephen Collins, his first time here on the show. And Stephen, we'll start you out with an easy question. I hope you can handle this one. It's actually Halloween today, so it's kind of a Halloween edition here on Hell Frozen Over. Are you going to get dressed up tonight?
Yes, I am.
You are, and what's the costume of choice?
I'm going to be a gorilla.
A gorilla, like full-on suit.
Full-on suit.
Wow.
Did you get it from a party store?
I made it, actually.
Really?
You made it, wow. And why a gorilla?
I don't know. I like gorillas.
Okay.
I just knitted it. Took a while.
You knitted it?
Yeah.
He's a talented man.
Yeah,
he can
he's
knit and play hockey.
Talent's beyond the rink, right?
It took me about 6 hours.
Wow. That is impressive.
I don't even spend 6 hours on my homework.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Well, now we're getting to hockey. You guys played Eastern Michigan, Colorado State this past weekend, and you basically had a coming-out party single-handedly. 7 points, 5 on Thursday, 2 on Friday. What was the difference this weekend from the ones in the past?
I shot the puck a lot more. And, I just got the puck towards the net. So.
Do you feel like the chemistry with you, McGinty, and Colin have really kind of meshed well after you guys got together in Iowa State?
Yeah, I think we've done a great job just, finding each other out there and just getting more pucks on net.
And how about your goal? I don't know if you actually know this, but I did actually send in your third hat-trick goal to ESPN. Unfortunately, they didn't put it on, but I made the effort, made the phone call. So can you kind of just break that down on what it meant to you, or is that just like a day in the life every day of Stephen Collins?
It's just another goal. Not that big of a deal.
Wasn't anything special. Well, you come into ASU, it's your first season. What's the difference between playing here than other places you've played in the past? And what are your thoughts on Coach Powers? And is he different from coaches you've had in the past?
A lot of my coaches have been pretty the same. I don't know.
What about playing at ASU? Do you like playing here? What's it like, the atmosphere, the games, and all that?
It's fun. It's a good time,
And
can't beat the weather.
You can't beat the weather, no. Now you guys go down to Tucson. I know you haven't been there yet. Have you heard of the atmosphere in Tucson?
I have, yeah.
And
so I'm pretty excited to play there. So.
Pretty excited. And what have you guys been working on in practice this week to really get ready for these 2 games?
Just being a lot more physical and just shooting the puck and finding guys out there.
Have you ever played in an arena as big as the one Tucson Convention Center? It's almost like the lower bowl, almost like an NHL, at least has that feel.
Yeah, I've never played in a rink like that in front of fans, so I'm pretty excited.
Any family or friends or family come in for that weekend to visit, or anyone's coming soon?
No, they're coming in January.
All right, so you're gonna come for the first week of Robert Morris and stuff like that.
I think so.
Comes in.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, thank you, Stephen, for joining us here. We're gonna take another quick break, but stay tuned after these commercials because we have more great hockey stuff coming at you. You're watching Hell Frozen Over, brought to you by WCSN.
How do we rise to the challenges before us? Arizona State University.
Welcome back to Hell Frozen Over. I'm Allison Cummings, bringing you your top 5 segment this week. With Arizona State University coming out victorious against both Eastern Michigan and Colorado State, a lot happened this weekend. Let's get started. Number 5 for the week, we have the Darcy Charwa power play goal. Eastern Michigan with the early lead, but ASU says nope. Darcy Charwa puts it right in the net, again in slow motion. The feed from McGinty to Collins, right to Darcy Charwa, and boom, you have the first Sun Devil goal. Next up for number 4, we have Ryan Clark. Look at that. Boom. He says, sit down. We always talk about Brian Parson being the most aggressive on the team, but look at Clark and look at that hit. Third in line, we have Eastern Michigan's Andrew Duff with the save montage. Duff shutting out the Sun Devils in the first period. They managed to take 22 shots on goal. None, however, got by him. Look at that. Completely laid out on the ice. That is some dedication. Moving on to number 2, Hecko on his knees, feet to Delinsky. Delinsky powering down the ice at fantastic speed, and goal for Cale Delinsky. Again, number 2 for 2 weeks in a row. Colin Hecko and Cale Delinsky making the montage at number 2. And number 1 for the week, Stephen Collins powering down the ice, and what a sick move right in the back of the net. That was nasty, again in slow motion in case you missed it. What a brilliant move by Stephen Collins, the freshman who now leads the team in goals. Freshman leading the top 5 segment with 2 weeks in a row, Jordan Young and then Stephen Collins. Collins, who also leads the team in goals with 12 to be exact. Now we're going to send it over to Josh Franz and Richard Flores with a look into the ACHA.
Thanks, Allison, and welcome to this week's segment of Around the ACHA. Alongside Richard Flores, I'm Josh Franz. Let's start with our upset of the week. Richard, who do you have this week?
My upset of the week is a big one. Last week we were talking about Minot State and how they took 2 losses last week. And this week they came back and they played a team out of the NJCAA, the National Junior College Athletic Association, Williston State. These guys are only in their 2nd season in the NJCCA. And so coming in, you were thinking, if you're Minot State, I think we can probably beat these guys, only having a 2nd season for being around for 2 seasons. And they didn't. In the first game in the series, they lost 2-1 to those guys. And it was Dwight Lee that got the game-winning goal. They won 2-1 in that game as well. Big performance by the goaltender in that one, Corey McMahon. He went 35-36 in net. Huge performance by him, and they got them the win for the upset of the week.
A great pick for upset of the week. They obviously weren't ready to play. They played them the next night and blew them out, so they are obviously a superior team. But my upset of the week this week is unranked Liberty beating number 1 Ohio 4-3. It was a team win for these guys. Everybody contributed. 4 different players scoring goals, 7 different players with points. All of their goals were assisted, 3 of the 4 by more than 1 player. It was a team effort to beat the number 1 ranked team in the country. All right, let's move on to our player of the week for this past weekend. Who do you have?
My MVP for this week is the goaltender out of Oakland University. He had a big weekend this weekend. It was Corey Rischuk. He went 47 for 48 in net against Western Michigan. Incredible performance. That's a 98% save percentage. And for the entire season, he's having a good season as well. A 1.60 goals against as well as a 93 save percentage. Big weekend for him.
Well, my player of the week actually went against Oakland on Sunday. Davenport player Tyler Quigley scored goals 3 and 4 to beat Oakland 4-2. Now let's move on to the game to watch this week. What is the matchup that you see?
We're both looking at the same game here. We're both looking at, what do we have here? Lindenwood and Oklahoma. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Both teams are in the top 10. We talked about Lindenwood. They're kind of having a tough time of it, but I think this game could get them back on track. Interesting to remember about this series is that over the last couple seasons, the last 15 matchups, Lindenwood leads that series 11-4, and that included a win in the playoffs back in 2010. So right now, I think that Lindenwood has seen this team before. They know how they play. I think they have somewhat of an advantage heading in.
Right, it's going to be a great matchup between 8th-ranked Lindenwood and 6th-ranked Oklahoma at Oklahoma. You mentioned Lindenwood winning 11 of the past 15. Oklahoma's won 4 of the last 6. Something's got to give. It'll be a great matchup to watch this weekend. That'll do it for Around the ACHA. For Richard Flores, I'm Josh Franz. Back to Austin and Nick at the rink.
And that's going to do it for us here on Hell Frozen Over. For Nick Marek, I'm Austin Controls. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.